This week, we've seen the return of ancestral Amazonians, a prison uprising, and the return of a villain from TMNT past. Let's dive right into what's on the pull list. Let's dive right in this week with Absolute Wonder Woman number 11, written by Kelly Thompson with artwork by Hayden Sherman. So, Diana is still within the maze, but she's met from an unexpected guest, another Amazonian. Like, we didn't even think that that was possible within the Absolute universe, but rest assured, it does happen within the pages of this book, and that's really cool. It gives Diana something that she needs to strive for, to yearn for in later arcs. But right here and right now, it was great just to see that one brief, interaction. The best part about this book is always the characterization of Diana, though, whether that is young Diana learning lessons and kind of even teaching the old gods new tricks and then putting it into play as an adult. That's what I love about this book, and that's exactly what we get with the penultimate issue of this particular arc of the story. Is it as good as the introductory arc? No, but it really set a high watermark with that one. This one, I had a lot of fun with this arc. I can't wait for it to wrap up in a really compelling, enticing way, and I'm really excited to see where they continue to take this book. Next up, we have Beneath the Trees Where No One Sees, Rites of Spring number 2, written and drawn by Patrick Horvath. So, I didn't really anticipate this series needing a sequel, but I gotta say, Horvath is doing things that I don't know are making it really exciting to kind of come back here. It's still a small town reeling from the change and unease of everything that's happened, and kind of trying to I don't know find their way and accept the things that they've been given on a silver platter. Sam, as the main character, is a freaking glutton for punishment, though. She's a thrill seeker with absolutely no remorse, and like she's trying to feed off of the adrenaline rush that she gets off of the acts that she is doing. This issue did a little bit more table setting than anything else here, but it's really needed to really kind of feel what's going to be happening with these ancillary characters. That's really what it was all about. There was a lot of interactions and a lot of development that comes along from all of the other characters that live within this town and their reaction to what's happened in the past. So, Beneath the Trees number 2 totally did a great job of setting things up here and getting our appetites wet for more. All right, Geiger 17 came out, written by Jeff Johns with artwork by Eduardo Panisca and Gary Frank. So, Tariq is in a bad way in this one, but also a good way. So, he's a prisoner here without his Baron rods and without the use of his power. But without those rods, shouldn't he be going out of control with radiation? Yeah, he should be, but he's not. So very clearly something happened with him absorbing all of that power in the previous issues. It does a great job with the art changes kind of like happening during shifting time frames, or I should say shifting interactions. We get to spend time with Tariq, but we also get to spend a lot of time with, the other people, right? The nuclear knights with Dr. Molotov as they search out what's happened to Tariq, where he has gone, and kind of following the path that has led him back to this prison where he is now trying to overcome what has all happened with him. It's a slower issue, and it's something that introduces maybe some new antagonists, but I think it's totally worthwhile. I think it's a great jumping on point for new readers, and it's a good jumping on point for a new story arc for us readers that have been following along too. So Geiger, make sure you're checking it out. All right, let's talk Green Arrow number 27, written by Curse Condon with artwork by Montos. This was like a Roy Harper centric issue. Roy is recovering, but he's reeling, right? The overdose looms large over his psyche right now, and it really does a great job at kind of like leaning on the past and showing how he is haunted by the actions that he has done in his past, and how I don't know Ali interacted with those, how Ali did his best to help, but wasn't necessarily the father figure or the nurturing character that Roy needed in the past, and now it's really coming back to haunt him in the present now as well, as he has his own daughter. It's really cool how the levels of interaction are kind of like building on this, and all the while Ali is still hunting down, looking for clues, and like letting his good nature get the better of him in certain points here as well. So again, while Ali wasn't a great father, he is definitely not brushing it aside. He's kind of trying to take his own levels of responsibility, albeit through a superheroic manner. Montos, does not get enough credit in the world of comics, in my opinion. He draws some of the most stunning action scenes and the interpretation of movement within any comic book this week, this month, maybe this year as well. So be on the lookout for this. Green Arrow is probably one of my favorite superhero comics that are hitting stands right now. Make sure that you are checking this one out. All right, let's talk Kaya number 29, written and drawn by Wes Craig. So the prison escape that we've all been kind of building towards and kind of working towards, it's gone into full effect. But does it go off without a hitch? No, because that wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be exciting. There's a moment in the story that really made my eyes go wide with fear. And I think if you read this issue, you already know what I'm talking about. But again, things kind of work out, but I feel like they don't go exactly how Jin and Kaya wanted them to go. And I feel like there's things that are been put into place now that make everyone very fearful of how this is all going to play out in the near future. Nothing is ever easily earned for the characters in this story, and this is one of those issues that kind of delivers on those hard lessons. This is a hard lesson issue, this is a hard lesson series, but that's also what makes it so enticing. Kaya is an absolutely fantastic read. You already know if you've been watching my videos, though. Kaya, if you know, you know. Make sure you're checking it out. Next up, we have Masterminds number 1, written by Zach Kaplan with artwork by Stephen Thompson. So the premise behind this kind of new premiere issue is that there's a game designer, Edward, and he's stuck in this soulless, unforgiving job until a mysterious offer is made. And it's kind of like a job interview done through mysterious ways. There's not enough character development in this issue, though, that really makes me care for the character of Edward. He's kind of put through the paces, and he's put through, again, this mysterious game where he has to kind of use his cunning and his wits to basically get into this, I don't know, like background society, kind of like Skull and Bones kind of thing, but for video game centric things. And it sets things up story wise that work out really well. I just don't know if the peril that our characters put in is leading me to a place where I'm like, oh, something's going to happen with this character, because I don't feel like I know enough about him. It did a good job at delivering some of the details, just not all the details for it. So, Masterminds number 1 was an okay introductory issue, but I definitely feel like I need more issues to kind of really understand this world and, more importantly, this character. All right, let's talk Minor Arcana number 10, written and drawn by Jeff Lemire. This is the backstory of the grandfather character and maybe his connection to magic and why he hasn't been present and maybe what's all going on in the background here. And it's presented in a very Lemire way. Lemire's back on artwork and writing duty, and it's always great to see him in full control. It's great to see any kind of creator in full control of the property that they're putting forth, and it makes sense for him to come back in this. A lot of time is spent in the prison as the grandfather character is kind of developing these abilities, and he's having interactions with his daughter, albeit not like, present. He's kind of manifesting himself and she's manifesting herself to him while in prison, and it's really cool. We get to also see some prison aspects of people that are within this other organization, this Eye of Providence organization. The triangle with the eye in it, kind of always associated with the Illuminati. So we get to see how that's also playing into everything that's happening as well, because we know in present day, they're also kind of the antagonist for the daughter character as well. So time will tell where this is going here. I think this is a really good foundational issue that's kind of giving us things that have happened in the past and kind of pulling that forward into the future. Next up, we have Speed Racer number 2, written by David Papos with artwork by David Tinto. So, Papos does a great job giving the story purpose and better speed bumps even for our protagonist. And yes, I'm using that pun here because it's Speed Racer and speed bumps, so whatever, shoot me. Tinto does an unenviable job in this issue, though, of drawing as many cars from as many angles as possible, but he keeps them looking super sharp and super good. Well done, sir. It was fantastic looking. The race was really exhilarating and really exciting. The trail of breadcrumbs that kind of lead back to Racer X is really, I'm really having a fun time with that. We all know who Racer X is. It's not something that is like super secret, but I really like kind of the buildup that they're delivering on this, and knowing that Racer X has his own solo series that's going to be coming out written by Mark Russell as well, makes it even that much more enticing. I think that David and David are doing a fantastic job on this series. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And again, it just goes to show that Papos is the king of licensed properties. So Speed Racer #2, check it out. I think you're going to have fun with this one. All right, let's talk Superman #29, written by Joshua Williamson with artwork by Dan Mora. So we get a view of a bleak, dark future that takes away all of Superman's hope and maybe even his will. What this does is it really plays on his history with the Legion of Superheroes and how a future full of hope gives him hope that the things that he does in the present day are all, kind of leading up to that, that what he is doing means something. And when you take that away, what does that mean for the character of Superman? He's also teamed up with Superboy Prime, who has kind of been put into this pocket universe, who has been known to be a villainous character, but he is almost like the Deadpool kind of version of Superman. He plays with breaking the fourth wall. That character is like the only superhero within his universe, and the character of Superman within comic books exists. So he's modeled himself after that Superman character, but he's also known to have villainous, things happen in his past, but he's had redemption arcs, which he calls out. So it's been kind of cool how they play with that. He's a little bit annoying, if I'm being completely honest, but the great thing about that is that he is supposed to be annoying, so it kind of works out. Superman is building. It's kind of like the catalyst for the year 2 of All In, and I'm all in for it. I think it's been done in a fantastic way, and I'm so glad that they're introducing these kind of things within DC proper. Now they're getting Booster Gold back. We're going to see how the linkage between him and the Absolute Universe and the proper universe all kind of come together. It's happening in this storyline right here, so make sure that you are invested in this if you like DC Comics. All right, we have the return of the Shellhead, so let's talk Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder #1, written by Dan Waters with artwork by Michelle Bandini. So this is kind of like Shredder being built up as a tool and as the lesser of two evils. So Oroku is kind of a broken man, but he is ever determined. He's seeing things. He's kind of back, and he like the events that kind of transpired that kind of left him on Dimension X have changed him, but it hasn't changed who he is necessarily. But he's having these visions of worms, and he's having these, like, I don't know, disgusting visions that keep popping up at the worst possible times. But he's trying to get back to New York. He's trying to get the control of the Foot Clan back, and he's trying to maybe find himself in a different manner than where he was left off. And that kind of plays out where he has unlikely allies who team up with him, give him a little bit of his power back, give him this new proper suit. But I love the way that's, I don't know, Oroku kind of plays with those notions and kind of like leans on who he is as a character. It's a great characterization of the, person who is Oroku, and it's great to see him back and kind of show the, I don't know, the prowess that he has and the level of intimidation that he can bring within TMNT lore. We get the full story here. He's back. He's better than ever. Shredder is awesome. Next up, we have Ultimate Spider-Man #20, written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by David Messina. So this is a callback issue. This is like a sequel to an issue that happened previously. In fact, it was the first issue that I remember David Messina's artwork being at the forefront, which is the dinner between Harry, Gwen, Peter, and MJ. And this is very much the same, except that now almost all of the cards are on the table for everyone except for MJ, and she's not too pleased about that. So now they need to really understand, where does everyone stand? What is the threat level? What does it mean to win, and when can they all feel safe again? That's what this issue is all about, and it's all done through the explanation and the talking heads of every single one of these characters. So if you're looking for an action-packed issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, you're not going to see it here. But if you're looking for really good characterization and kind of like a jumping off point for the next big thing that's going to be happening, especially knowing that we only got 4 more issues of this iteration of Ultimate Spider-Man, I think that this is the time to kind of play catch up, figure out where we stand, because this issue sets you up for where we're going to be going next. Skybound is back within the Universal Monsters universe, so let's talk Invisible Man #1, written by James Tynion with artwork by Danny. So we all are kind of familiar with the story of the Invisible Man, right? But this is just like all the Universal Monster properties that they've done in the past. It's a new look at that property that we know through a different lens. And this is all about a man who wants all the accolades and all the attention of being this brilliant scientist, this well renowned scientist, but he detests human interaction and wants nothing to do with the people that are kind of needed to kind of get him to the place where he needs to be. What really stood out to me within this issue, even above the narrative and the artwork by Danny, both of which were stunning, was Becca Carey's approach at lettering, though. It makes it feel so timely. It makes it feel of its time. It was almost like reading the place cards of a silent movie as the narration from the Invisible Man is like being laid out to you. I really love the font choice and the way that that's all spelled out here. Danny's artwork, though, is dreary and gloomy, and it just kind of gives you all the vibes that you would want from this type of property. It's just pitch perfect. It plays on negative space, and it really is like that chunky line work that we all know and love from her approach. So Universal Monsters Invisible Man really kind of, I don't know, sets things off here in a great way, and it's making me hopeful that this could be of the same caliber of Dracula and Frankenstein. Next up, we have We're Taking Everyone Down With Us, number 5, written by Matthew Rosenberg with artwork by Stefano Landini. So, the preteen murder weapon is reintroduced to her mother in this issue. And of course, things don't go the way that we want. They've been separated for so long, and she is only kind of known her father to be this, I don't know, distant character, but brilliant character. So when the robot is taken away and she is kind of questioning or being questioned about the nature of her father, she comes to the dude's defense here. And it's kind of cool seeing that level of interaction and kind of seeing what it means to be her and who she really is and what her true meaning within this book is. She's brilliant. She knows things that she shouldn't know, and maybe this is all manufactured. And it's kind of cool seeing all of this kind of coalesce and come to be. And we also now see that the mother character, who is also a brilliant, criminal, wanted to be more involved in her life. It's sharp, it's witty, it's not afraid to pivot on a dime, and I love that about this story. We also get to spend a little bit more time with Rook, and every time we get to spend time with Rook, it's a laugh riot. And it's not supposed to be necessarily, but it definitely plays out that way. It's like if Burt Reynolds were James Bond, and I love that about this book. Everything is weird, everything is wonderful. It's witty, it's charming. This is a great book. Make sure you're checking this out if you're looking for a book to have a lot of fun with. And with my runner-up pick of the week, let's talk Absolute Martian Manhunter number 6, written by Dennis Camp with artwork by Javier Rodriguez. So Detective Jones and the Martian battle together, both physically and metaphorically. The battlefield is thoughts and ideals and hope and fear, and it's all played out in this really cool way, both narratively from Camp and visually by Rodriguez. I think that this issue delivered everything I wanted from the previous issue, but was a little bit frustrated by. It holds your hand, but like just by the fingertips. It's just giving you enough to kind of follow you through the entire story arc, and I feel like that was missing in the previous issue. The color spectrum that's being used within this here, the sparing color work here, acting as a range of emotion, is something that really lends itself to this visual medium like comic books. And I think that they know what they're doing. I think especially Javier Rodriguez is playing with that in a fantastic way, and it really delivers a delightful experience within this book. Now, we have a little bit of a break that's coming on the heels of this arc being finished. But I gotta say, this was a great kind of place to take a break, take a breather, kind of reassess where we're at, and get me excited to get back into the world of Absolute Martian Manhunter. This was a fantastic issue, and it was absolutely what I needed from this series. And with my top comic of the week, let's talk Lost Fantasy number 4, written by Kurt Pierres with artwork by Luca Casalungueta. We've reached the explainer issue portion of this series, and we're given a couple side stories as well. And everything is kind of coalescing, and we're starting to understand what it is that's actually happening here. And we're seeing some familial relationships that are being kind of like, I don't know, brought to the forefront that we didn't necessarily know. It's a great balance of genre. And I've said that over and over, right? I'm going to be a broken record here, but the unfolding crime mystery here and the mysterious nature of the murder that kicks this series off is really played within a great way. But we get even more mysterious things that are happening. But when we get those, it pivots on a dime right over to the fantastical nature. It becomes more Game of Thrones than it becomes Law and Order, and it does so in a really natural way that really makes it exciting to continue the series. Our main character does a fantastic job at kind of like playing that detective role, and we're maybe a couple steps ahead of him. And if you know the tropes of the crime genre, you can kind of see a couple things coming. Same thing with the fantasy, but with the interweaving of those two things, it kind of still makes it compelling, and it still delivers mysteries that might actually get ahead of even the reader as well. So the visual pacing in this one was fantastic by Luca. The narrative was wonderful. This was absolutely worthy of Top Comic of the Week. So that's what I've read this week, but I'm more curious. What did you read, and what were your thoughts? Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and be part of the panel. Leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next week.